Faubourg Brewery congratulates the Rex organization on 150 years. Faubourg is the gold medal-winning neighborhood beer of New Orleans, voted the top craft brewery by the readers of New Orleans Magazine. Learn more at faubourgbrewery.com.
Hi, I'm Karen Swenson in the King's Room of the Rex Den, and I'll be your host as we take a look at the history, beauty, artwork, and philanthropy of the one and only Rex, King of Carnival, as the storied organization celebrates its 150th anniversary. Today's episode features the origin of the parade and how Rex balances innovation, artistry, and the commitment to its historical and traditional roots. Carnival parades originated during the Middle Ages in Europe, and those traditions came to New Orleans with the earliest European explorers and settlers. In the years after the first appearance of the King of Carnival in 1872, Rex began to focus on turning its procession of simple wagons, riders, and maskers into colorful displays and rolling works of art for the New Orleans public to enjoy and for tourists to go home and tell their friends and neighbors about. The result is Mardi Gras as we know it today.
In the early 1900s, the Rex Parade started really paying attention to the beauty of the floats in order to delight the public. And it was very much like what happened in Florence in the late 1400s, is these parades suddenly became things where you had works of art, where young kids like Leonardo da Vinci were creating the masks and the floats and the costumes, all for the delight of the public.
The Rex Parade, within just a few years, had transitioned from being a sort of ragtag affair to a similarly themed parade with rolling tableau created out of wonderful materials, illustrating a series of scenes from literature, mythology, history. People came from all over the world to see rolling works of art. Nobody was throwing anything from those floats. They were simply rolling tableau illustrations created by some of our finest artists. Those lovely pieces of art rolled right back into the dens. They were taken apart, and the process began again of creating floats for the next year. That is such a rare and unusual art form, and it's no business model anybody would ever go out and imagine. I mean, you're making works of art and making them available to the public for just a few hours and then tearing them apart and starting over again.
I think it's an ephemeral art, and there's something that is inherently meaningful in that. One of the things that's really special about Rex is it has this incredible history. It's a real pleasure to work on something like Rex and to be embracing those traditions, and I think it's great that they look handmade and handcrafted, and you can see that history and tradition in the floats themselves. One of the reasons that somebody goes into Mardi Gras and commits to that as an art career is because you think there's an inherent meaning to it, because you are making art that is for the public, and it's free and it's accessible, and it's a gift to the city.
For the organization's 150th anniversary, Rex has some special additions to their parade in the works. Here's Rex representative James Reese and third-generation Italian float maker Jonathan Berticelli to tell us about them.
Mardi Gras 2022 is going to be one of the biggest and best Mardi Gras this city has ever seen. I think the appetite coming out of the COVID pandemic is huge for both locals and tourists alike. This is Rex's 150th anniversary since our founding in 1872, and we're going to do it bigger and better than we've ever done in the past. Well, we consider Rex to be rolling works of art. Each individual float will depict a theme that we've used in the past over our 150 years. We're extremely excited to have all of those themes in one parade at one time. We've added some elements like some Italian walking figures that we had once used in the 1950s that I think will enhance the look of the parade, and bigger, better bands. We've got bands, both local and out-of-town bands participating, as well as a riderless float that will lead the parade out that itself is a rolling work of art depicting some of the scenes of our 150th anniversary.
I'm a third-generation float builder. My family did this kind of work in Italy, in Viareggio, and here I am today. Viareggio is a small city with a huge carnival tradition, huge. They make the most phenomenal, gigantic carnival floats in the world. Mr. Blaine Kern went there when he first started in the business in the, I want to say in the 50s, and he looked up Viareggio. He noticed that they did some amazing work. He went there, sponsored by Rex, and he met the artists there that built this, including my father, and he started to import some of these elements, these big, beautiful pieces that were coming off those floats after they used them. He started importing all these pieces and putting them on the floats here for Rex. I was contacted, I want to say maybe 6 months ago, and he told me about his idea of having what we call walking figures brought back to the Rex Parade for this anniversary. And these walking figures are papier-mâché figures that are hollow and light, and a person gets in them and carries them. And it's basically a figure, it's the waist up, the arms, and somebody gets in it and carries it. So the person that carries it, their legs become part of the walking figure, the visual of it. So you see these little legs carrying this giant torso, and they become like 10, 12 feet tall, and they bop and walk around the parade route. They're very entertaining. Rex had them years ago in their parades in the 60s, which they were imported from Italy. And they want to reintroduce them for this anniversary, and that's what I'm working on right now. I'm making 3 giant walking figures. That's the old world way, and that's the tradition that I keep going, that I preserve.
The spectacle that began 150 years ago has grown to become something so broad and so important to this city. The founders would be so proud of that. One thing that I'm so pleased with the Rex organization is that we've maintained that traditional approach to that art form. We still use the same materials that would have been used in those early days. Our themed parades are created and imagined years in advance, and preserving that art form is part of what Rex's legacy will always be.
Tradition certainly is alive and well within the Rex organization. This Mardi Gras, instead of focusing only on the beads and the doubloons and the cups and the throws, maybe take a step back and enjoy the beauty of the historic Rex floats. And keep an eye out for those frolicking Italian walking figures. Please join me in future episodes as we learn about the ornate jewelry and costumes of the golden age of Rex and explore Rex's partnerships with various important organizations. I'm Karen Swenson. Thanks for joining me, and hail Rex!